Superman is one of the most iconic superheroes of all time. When people think of the ideal hero, they think of Superman. He's faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, and is able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Eventually, DC Comics made you believe a man can fly. Superman is a timeless hero that the world will never forget. No matter how many times he falls, he'll always overcome the obstacles that stand in his way. Everyone has an experience with Superman, whether that be through comics, movies, shows, or merchandise. But many people haven't experienced Superman through the virtual dimension known as video games. That's why in this video we will be going through the history of every playable Superman game. Now let the carnage begin!
Yeah.
The first ever Superman game to ever grace the planet Earth came out in 1979 for the Atari 2600. Okay, so people need to know that I've never played an Atari game before. So if I'm not feeling it, it's because I didn't grow up with this, plastic. I mean, I guess back then, people didn't have that much time. So this was the definite Superman. It's not good. I hate how when Superman flies, it makes this horrible ear-wrenching sound that makes me want to play this on mute. I know I can arrest criminals, but why is everyone teleporting? Alright, so it seems like I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm done. Hey, calm down. Alright, we're moving on. Let's move to 6 years to the year 1985. The video game Superman, the game, has came out for the Commodore 64. Let's go, it's Superman, yeah! Oh, damn it, get the hell out of my screen, you jackass! You suck! Wait a second, what the hell is that? Why is Darkseid running like a goblin? Alright, screw it. Okay, so you play hide and seek until Darkseid decides to give up and teleports into another shooting game. That's basically the whole entire thing. There's nothing more, there's nothing less. So far, this is the best Superman game, haha. But for real, so is it good? No. But is it better than the last game? Yes. So hopefully we can start seeing progress. Superman is a character that adapts to the times, so I'm eager to see where we go from here. It shouldn't be bad, right? The game starts off with a talking Statue of Liberty, and you know what? I've seen stranger shit from Superman. But you know what is strange? You know what's strange? Why does Superman look like a child? Everyone looks like a child. Okay, so you can't really fly in this game. I mean, you can do this weird jump, but Superman isn't flying. I think he's having a fucking seizure. If you want to truly fly, you have to go to the menu, select the flight option, and then if you are in a good spot, select where you want to fly, and then from there, you can fly. But you can't manually fly in this game, which hurts the superhuman experience of playing as Superman. The attack buttons are quite strange to use, but if you get hit a lot, you transform back into Clark Kent. From there, you have to find a phone booth to become Superman once again. Most of the time, you're wandering around the game trying to find criminals, and sometimes you do find a building filled with clerks, but once the fight is over, that's it. Don't interfere with me, I'm in a hurry. Okay, sure, but why are you in a hurry? Why, you're just standing there, what the fuck? If I don't do anything for an hour, that guy will still be there. Let's talk to this guy instead. What the fuck? I just got hit with rejection. Fuck you. So far, this is shit. I don't like this game. And therefore I'm done. Back in the 80s, arcades were superior to your home console since they were built with much more powerful hardware that was able to provide better graphics, sounds, and gameplay. In 1998, Taito, now owned by Square Enix, created the Superman arcade game. Yeah, that's right, Donald Duck isn't the most powerful character in Final Fantasy anymore. That belongs to Superman now. Alright, let's play this game. So far, it's a good start. I love hearing the John Williams theme. A classic beat-em-up for the Man of Steel. And you know what? It delivers on this one. I have fun with this. Here's the thing, it's not revolutionary, but it's simple, which makes it fun. And also the game lasts about like 20 minutes, so I don't mind playing it. The problem I have with this game is that I can't compare it to the other games on this list, since they're full games. While this is just a classic beat-em-up. If I were to compare it to another arcade game, even other beat-em-ups, this is just an okay game. I generally had a good time with this game, but I don't know if I am biased, because I just played a couple of shit games right before it. I'll say for now, this is the best Superman game so far. Superman the Man of Steel was released in 1989 for the Commodore 64. Well, shit. Need the code key. What the hell is a code key? I don't have a code key. Hold up, let me find this. Despite wasting 2 hours searching for this piece of paper, let's finally play this game. This game is pretty weird. You spend more time looking at the loading screen than actual playing the damn game. The actual game lasts like 2 seconds and the next you know, another 5-minute loading screen. I'm not even running this on the original hardware either, so what the hell? It's not like the patience was worth it either, since all the game you do is just a shooting and destroy kind of game. It's not really anything unique, it's not anything fantastic about it. I feel like some of these games were meant for the arcade, because what the hell is the point of the time limit and the high score? It's Jimmy bragging to his coworkers at the office like, "Hey guys, I just got 5,000 high score on the new Commodore 64 games." This game stinks and should be titled Man of Wasting My Time! So if you didn't know, I'm a big Sega guy, but like I don't own any Sega console. But I'm a Sonic guy, which happens to be Sega, which makes me a Sega guy. So when I made this list, I predicted 1992 Superman for the Sega Genesis would be my favorite game on this list. You know what? This game's kind of hard. Why the fuck is this game so hard? That's bullshit and shouldn't be allowed at all. This game was made for home entertainment, but I feel like this would have been the perfect arcade game to steal all your quarters. Like why the hell is it so difficult? It's just the first Souls-like game. I gotta lock in, folks. I gotta lock the fuck in. This whole game is bullshit. Best Superman game my ass. Fuck this game. Anyways, let me play a little bit more. Folks, this is torture. Even with that said, I think it's cool, you know? Not the best, but you know, it's addictive. I don't want to go into details with these handheld games, but Superman the Man of Steel, released in 1993, is the same game as Superman for the Sega Genesis. Why was this game called differently? It doesn't make sense. Like, did they just assume people would buy these two games together? I don't know, I just found that interesting. The Death and Return of Superman for the Super Nintendo, released in 1994, is an interesting game since it's based on one of the most significant Superman comics of the 90s. I find it pretty cool since this is probably the few times in gaming where they straight up adapt the comics. I mean, I don't mean like use a similar storyline, I mean this is straight up a comic adaptation. The gameplay is fine, to be honest. It gets repetitive and it's like one of those beat 'em ups. But this time, yeah, and you can change into different characters. Yeah, honestly, there's not that much difference in gameplay except for like one move that does like a different thing. If you know the comics, then you know that Superman comes back. Actually, you don't even need to know comics. Just know that Superman never dies. It's a Superman game for the Game Boy, and that's it. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just I find it quite difficult, but it's enjoyable for a Game Boy game. The game is quite hilarious since you can die very easily while looking for items. I didn't play that game that long, but with the time spent, I think it's cool. Like, you know, but it's a Game Boy game, so let's move on. Okay, this is the game that everyone's been wanting. This is the game everyone's been wanting to see. Superman: The New Adventures for the Nintendo 64, or what most people call it, Superman 64. This game holds prestige like no other, since when you mention this game, everyone stops what they're doing and unite together to shit on this game. What's up with the rings? This isn't Sonic the Hedgehog, this is Clark Kent Adventures, and I don't remember no fucking rings on the Daily Planet. Jesus Christ, the controls are weird. Like, even using a modern controller for this game is bizarre. I don't believe this was purposely made to be this bad. What the hell is this crap? It gets repetitive, but the repetitiveness vanishes when there's a new bullshit to encounter. Like, for example, what's up with the super breath? Why is it so difficult to even perform it? It's not even difficult in a way that can challenge you. It's difficult like taking a shit while being constipated. Something that I want to mention is that if you play this game in 4:3 aspect ratio, but it's pretty useless because you can't see the whole screen, well, it makes the game even more unplayable. Also, why does he fly as fast as a speeding bullet but walk as slow as a goddamn sloth? When you punch enemies, you are completely far away. If you manage to hit someone, it barely does damage. To destroy a robot instantly, you need to grab it, throw it, but if you do that, you harm yourself, which means attacking is useless. Just try to skip everything if you can. Actually, skip this fucking game! Anyways, Superman Shadow of Apocalypse, released in 2002 for the GameCube, is a game that should have been released as Superman 64. It uses the same art style as the animated series, but Shadow of Apocalypse conveys the aesthetic much more better than the 64 game. The game is repetitive, because you have to destroy evil robots, then save people, then destroy even more robots, and then save even more people. But you get what I'm saying, you know? By the way, this is a Kojima type game since the cutscenes are pretty long, but I appreciate it since they got the actual cast from the animated series to reprise the roles.
Strange that LexCorp hasn't lost any scientists, isn't it?
Agreed. Considering that Luthor has some of the best minds on the planet working for him.
Honestly, my favorite part of the game was the stealth missions as Clark Kent. I had more fun as Clark Kent because you can't use all of Superman's abilities, since you're playing as a regular human being. I know that sounds lame. When you have to think outside the box, you have to attempt things that Superman cannot do publicly, or else he'll get caught.
Intruders have breached the...
Superman, the Man of Steel, released in 2002 for the Xbox, is foolish.
So much for a slow news day.
Holy shit! Like, why the fuck does Superman become a black hole? Superman Man of Steel 2002 edition gets repetitive in the way I've used this word. 3 robots require different moves to get destroyed, which sounds fun, but as soon as the game makes you do it 10 times in the same minute, you just wish you weren't playing this game anymore. Superman Returns was released in 2006 for the PlayStation 2, Xbox, and surprisingly enough, Xbox 360. But I don't own the Xbox 360, so I'm sticking with the PS2 version. If there's any significant difference, let me know in the comments and type down, "Karnage, you gamer idiot, you should have known." Since the city is mostly isolated, Superman Returns is an open sandbox game. At random, you'll receive a call from Jimmy stating that he set the building on fire, and you must blow it away, or else this entire city will burn. Playing these games back to back is crappy because no offense to this game, but I've done the same exact thing already. However, what makes this game unique is that it features a fun and challenging boss mode.
Remember, all enemies have a weakness, my son.
Well, let's move on to the next game. Superman, that's it? That's all the Superman games? I guess that does it for the Man of Steel. If your last game was on PlayStation 2, I think there's an issue waiting to be solved. If the Batman children can have a standalone game, why can't Superman have one in this day and age? Unfortunately, no one wants to improve a new Superman game if the last few didn't deliver. And I think that's the reason why there hasn't been any news or anything related to the Man of Steel. But if Deadpool can have 2 games in the last decade or 2, and Superman has none, there's a serious conversation to be had. Superman is a character who deserves the role, and he's been a staple superhero for almost a century. The studio should give him one more chance in the gaming atmosphere, and give him the game he deserves. Truth, justice, and a better game. Anyways, I think Smoking Kryptonite is pretty solid, dude.
You know, every word